breaking late this afternoon. Brand new bombshell reporting from the Wall Street Journal that might explain why Donald Trump appears so anxious and, frankly, flat-footed when it comes to releasing documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. The Wall Street Journal citing senior administration officials in its reporting that when Justice Department officials reviewed what Attorney General Pam Bondi called a, quote, truckload of documents related to Epstein earlier this year, they discovered Donald Trump's name appeared multiple times. From that report, quote, in May, Bondi and her deputy informed the president at a meeting in the White House that his name was in the Epstein files, the official said. Many other high-profile figures were also named, Trump was told. Being mentioned in the records isn't a sign of wrongdoing. The officials said it was a routine briefing that covered a number of topics and that Trump's appearance in the documents wasn't the focus.
Major fallout is erupting after new bombshell reporting reveals Donald Trump was personally briefed on his name appearing in the Jeffrey Epstein files. And now, even his MAGA base is starting to turn on him. Let's break down what just happened.
I think about this is that material, the voluminous investigative material that the Department of Justice has, that can be turned over right now, today, this minute. There is no grand jury requirement that you go to court to turn that over. So here, if the Department of Justice and the Trump administration is saying, oh, we want to be transparent, that is information that they don't need to go to the court and turn over. We just saw them do that in the Martin Luther King Jr. files, turning that over. So you really are seeing this continuation of a schizophrenic approach, and the Wall Street Journal reporting gives you certainly a motive for why they are sort of, on the one hand, saying we're going to go to court, and the other hand saying the stuff that's most likely to name Donald Trump, we are not disclosing.
I mean, Alex, we also get a little bit of the timeline filled in. Let me read a little bit more from this new reporting in the Journal. This meeting, they write about, set the stage for the high-profile review to come to an end. Pam Bondi had said in February that Epstein's client list was, quote, sitting on my desk right now to review, end quote. Trump said last week in response to a journalist's question that Bondi had not told him his name was in the files. The administration didn't publicly announce the decision until weeks later, the Journal continues, on July 7th, when the Justice Department posted a memo to its website. The statement, which was unsigned, stated that a thorough review had turned up no list of Epstein's clients, no evidence that would lead to an investigation of uncharged third parties, and no additional documents that merited public disclosure. It said that much of the material would have been sealed in a trial to protect victims and to block the dissemination of child pornography.
So let's be clear. The Wall Street Journal isn't MSNBC or CNN. This is a Rupert Murdoch-owned paper, and they're naming Trump directly. That's a huge shift. And this isn't just about optics. It's about potential legal exposure and the MAGA movement's core belief that Trump would drain the swamp.
I think this is a huge stress test for Trump and his coalition, which, you know, it's not all of MAGA, but it is Stewart Rhodes, it is Stephen Bannon, it is Michael Flynn, it is a certain significant portion of his base that is animated by this notion that the deep state and the dismantling of the deep state are job number one for Donald Trump. It's bigger than any tariff war or any social safety net program or even maybe immigration. For them, this is the animating sort of factor in their support for Trump. And it's why Stewart Rhodes said Donald Trump's life was spared during the assassination attempts. He was here to dismantle this elite cabal and open back up our democracy, right? I'm paraphrasing. And they believe so much in that deep state that I think up until this point, maybe even till this article, Nicole, they believe that Trump was shielding the deep state and the elite cabal and not actually maybe just covering his own butt because he was implicated in these Epstein files. And now there is definitive information coming from not the New York Times, not the Washington Post, but Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal, the same man who owns Fox News, that Donald Trump's name is not only in the Epstein files, Donald Trump knew it, and Donald Trump lied to the public about that knowledge.
Even former DOJ officials are now questioning why Trump's DOJ claimed transparency yet buried the one thing they could legally release: the Epstein investigative files. What are they hiding? Why lie about being named?
Wasn't just threatened, but I think filed against the Journal, the journalists, and the parent company and Rupert Murdoch personally. What is the significance of these reporters and this news organization not being intimidated from following the facts wherever they lead?
It's really interesting to me that Donald Trump said openly that he went to Rupert Murdoch to spike the story. Murdoch said he would do it, didn't follow through, or at least indicated to Trump he would do it, which might have been less of a committal response than Murdoch meant to give. Didn't do it. And then Trump held up this fact as if it showed that Murdoch lacks journalistic ethics when really the opposite is the case. In fact, this would actually be a scandal under a normal president, that the president tried to go to a newspaper's owner to spike a damaging story about himself. But I think we should be a little bit cautious about how much the fact that it's the Wall Street Journal and not the Times or the Post is going to carry a weight with Trump's base. Trump has always defined fake news as anything that reports unfavorable facts against him. At times, there have been reporters at Fox News who have broken or confirmed unflattering information for Donald Trump, and he just says they're Trump haters, they're rhinos, it's fake news. And his base will just go along and just say definitionally any facts that Donald Trump doesn't like is fake news regardless of the source.
Now Trump is facing what could be the most dangerous challenge to his political base. If even 10% of MAGA voters start asking real questions, the entire foundation of his comeback crumbles. This story isn't going away.